We did leave property. Oh, it was terrible. I had like cold sweats and hot flashes. Hey everybody, it's Becky. Welcome back to my channel. I have another kind of Disney vacation themed video for you guys. If you guys know, we go to Disney every year. I'm a Disney person. We are a Disney family. I think about Disney every single day. And my dream is to be part of the Disney social media moms. If you guys know, it's like floating around on YouTube and some other social media where they like, Disney will host you and take you on these trips and give you the opportunity to see all these new different Disney experiences and cruise ships. That is like the epitome of my YouTube goals, is to become one of the Disney social media moms influencers. But you guys know I'm diehard Disney, and I have been since I was a little kid. And this year in particular, our Disney trip was a little bit different because our oldest daughter is really into Harry Potter, and we hadn't been to Universal in about 10 years. The last time we were there, she was about 5 or 6, 4, 5 or 6, something like that. Harry Potter was not even at Universal, and obviously she had not seen it at that age. So since she's seen the movies now, she is like obsessed with Harry Potter, and she really wanted to go to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal. So we went one day, which was hard for me because like I literally, if you try to, like, we stay on property at Disney and I don't want to see anything that's not Disney. And so there have been a few times on our trips that my husband be like, well, I need to go to this outlet store and get some shoes or whatever. If he takes me off Disney property, like I close my eyes because I don't want to see anything not Disney when I'm at Disney. So I didn't do that this time, but we did leave property. Oh, it was terrible. I had like cold sweats and hot flashes, but we left Disney property for one day to go to Universal because our oldest daughter wanted to go. And I thought, well, you know, we'll go and see that because that looks neat and all that stuff. Well, I have lots of opinions about Universal versus Disney, and I'm going to share them with you in this video. Now, there are lots of people out there that are very Universal families, and they're not as much for Disney, but for us, this is my experience and kind of what I noticed in just a few hours at Universal. The main things that stuck out in my head, and am I going to stop going to Disney and start going to Universal? I don't know. You're going to have to watch the video to find out. So the very first difference that I noticed at Universal, other than the fact that just even the entrance is not that exciting, like Disney's got the big arches and a lot of the parks have a really pretty entrance, but Universal is just kind of like Universal, just a little sign out front. So that was the first thing. It takes a long time to get from the parking lot to the bag check of Universal. It's quite a bit of a walk. And then they do a bag check. Like Disney also does a bag check. I do feel like it was very hectic and frantic. It felt a lot like an airport. They had all the metal detectors set up, and they had like these bins that you have to shove your stuff in, and like they're shoving you through. They were literally like yelling, come on through, come through, you know. And you're trying to get your stuff on the belt, you're trying to get your stuff off the belt. So it was very intense. It was very different than Disney. However, I do feel like even though it was very frantic and overwhelming, I do feel like that maybe they were a little bit more thorough in the bag check because everything is going through a metal detector and an x-ray machine. Like just like in the airport when you put your bags through the x-ray machine, they did that at Universal, where they don't do that at Disney. They do a bag check, but they don't have like a scanner where they can look in your bag. Like somebody has to stand there and like poke through all the pockets and the flaps. So it takes a lot longer at Disney to get through bag check than it did to get through the one at Universal. And I do feel like the one at Universal was more thorough because my bag and me, like my bag had to go through like an x-ray machine thing, and then I had to go through a metal detector. So I do feel like it was more thorough. Disney does have metal detectors now, but not everybody has to go through them. They only pick certain people or certain areas where you have to go through a metal detector. And when it comes to bag check, I feel like Disney, the security guards, there's different security guards for each bag check stand. And some security guards are really thorough and they're unzipping every pocket and they're looking through everything, which takes a while. But I'm okay with that as long as they're being thorough because I understand why they're checking those bags. I want them to check their bags because I want to feel like I'm safe at Disney. But I feel like other security guards aren't as thorough and they kind of just and they send you on through, and they can't possibly look at everything you've got in your bag. So there's a little bit of a lack of consistency there at Disney, which is why I feel like at Universal, even though it was very loud and chaotic, they at least were looking in everybody's bags and the x-ray machines, and everybody was going through the metal detector. So Universal, very chaotic and hectic, but very thorough, I feel like. And Disney, it's not as chaotic, it's a lot more low-key, but it takes a little bit longer and it's not quite as thorough in my opinion. So the second difference between Disney and Universal is they have two parks at Universal, the theme parks. They've got Universal and they've got Islands of Adventure, which there's tons of rides in those two parks. But I feel like a lot of them are too intense for young kids. Disney, I think, is a lot more family friendly. No, I mean, Disney doesn't have quite as many thrill rides as Universal may have, but I feel like for a family, especially if you've got young kids, Disney for me is way more family friendly, and we can ride everything together as a family versus Universal, where we learned very quickly that our 8-year-old was a little afraid of some things. I mean, she rode everything we asked her to ride, but one of the rides like scared her to death, and just, I don't know. So I guess it depends on what you're looking for. If you have teenagers who may just want thrill ride after thrill ride, then maybe they would prefer Universal. I mean, I still wouldn't, because I was a teenager once and I still prefer Disney. But you know, it just depends on your kids and your family and what type of vacation you want. So yes, Universal does have a lot of rides, but I feel like a lot of them are really intense, especially for young kids, and I don't feel like it's as family friendly as Disney. So still, on that category, Disney wins out on that one also. Another thing I hated about Universal was in the line for Transformers, you know how you're in the queue for the line for the ride, and there's like TVs playing to keep you entertained, and it was like this thing, this guy was supposed to be, I don't know, in charge of the robots or whatever, and he was researching this robot sighting. And there was a cuss word in that video that's playing in the line while you're waiting. And I thought, you know, I mean, it wasn't the F word or anything, but it was still a cuss word. It was still offensive to me. It was still unnecessary. And we had to hear it several times before we got out of that area in the line and got to move on to the next section. So that, to me, if there was a doubt in my mind that there wasn't, but if there was a doubt in my mind that I would have picked Universal over Disney, that instantly turned me off and ticked me off, to be honest. I mean, this is a family park. You're with kids. Why do you feel the need to do that? And I know a lot of people don't agree with me because they don't care that their kids hear curse words. I do care, and I think it's dumb and unnecessary, and that really, really offended me. So that reason alone makes me not ever want to go back to Universal again. I mean, I don't know. It just really made me mad. So, like I said, if I wasn't already leaning towards Disney, which I was, but if I hadn't been, that reason alone would have definitely been enough to push me back towards Disney, because I just think it's stupid. It's not necessary. It doesn't add anything to the ride or the experience, and it was just dumb. So that's what I think about that. Universal does have the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which is the reason why we went, and I think it's the reason why a lot of people go. And it is a very immersive, incredible, I mean, it's done really, really well. It's an amazing area of the park. But other than that, I feel like a lot of the rides at Universal are the same. It's the same kind of concept. You're in a car that moves with a 3D movie. You've got Transformers. You've got Spider-Man. You've got Despicable Me. You've got Shrek. All of them are the same exact concept. You're in a moving car that goes along with a movie that's in 3D and stuff squirts at you. I mean, it's the same thing over and over again. So after you've done the one, you can pretty much, you know, it's just the theming that changes. And I feel like that's kind of I don't know, even though it's more rides to do, I just feel like it's unnecessary because they're all pretty much the same ride with different characters. So that seems a little silly to me. Another thing that we really did not like about Universal, and I don't know why this is, and I don't know if they do it on other rides, but in the 2 Harry Potter rides, there's actually 3 Harry Potter rides. There is the Flight of the the Flight of the Hippogriff, I think. There's the Escape from Gringotts, and then there's another one I can't remember the name of. In the 2 bigger rides, not the Hippogriff one, but the other 2, they make you take your backpack or whatever you're carrying with you. They make you throw your drinks away, and they make you shove your backpack in a locker that's in a tiny little locker room that's hot and full of 8 million people who are also trying to shove their backpacks and purses into these little tiny lockers. And I don't know why they made you do that. Like, there's no ride at Disney where I have to shove my bag anywhere. You can put them in like a pouch or under the seat. I've never been at an amusement park before where they make you shove your stuff in a locker. So they have these little itty bitty locker rooms that are right off of, like, where you're trying to get into the entrance of the ride. They have these little tiny locker rooms off to the side where the employees of Universal are literally screaming, put your bags in there. Come this way. Don't stand in the hallway. Get your bags in there. If you're done with your bag, come out of the locker room. I'm like, they were yelling at us the entire time to put our bag in the locker, and the backpack is big, and he's trying to shove it in the locker, and it's hot in there, and people are trying to get in, and people are trying to get out, and people are trying to get their bags in, and people are trying to get their bags out. And then me and my girls are trying to wait for my husband to put the bag up, so we're trying to stand like off to the side where he can see us and we won't get lost, but the crowd is kind of going through, and it's absolute chaos to get your bag put in the locker room and get back with your group so you can get in line. I don't understand whose idea that was and why they do that, but it's horrible organization, and it's terrible to be screamed at when I'm trying to hold my kids and keep everybody together and watch my husband so make sure we don't lose him, and like people are coming and the people that work there are yelling. I don't think I've ever had an experience like that at an amusement park before, and it was very stressful, and maybe one of you all can tell me why you can't take your backpack on these 2 rides in particular. And let me know also, are there other Universal rides where you have to shove your backpack in a locker? Because that was the only 2 that we rode that they made us do that, but I don't understand why they did that. But it just made me feel like a cow, honestly. I felt like I was being herded onto something, like they were just motioning and yelling and directing people, and it was very chaotic and very stressful, and I don't get it. And it was not enjoyable at all. Okay, and then another difference I noticed between Universal and Disney was when we went to eat lunch, our daughter wanted to eat at the Leaky Cauldron, which is a Harry Potter inspired restaurant that's from the movie. I wasn't wild about eating there because the food looked gross, to be honest, and I'm pretty picky, so, but it didn't look very good. And we had to wait about 30 minutes in line just to place our order, so that was kind of obnoxious. But I realized it's a popular restaurant because so many people do want to eat at this Harry Potter themed restaurant. But one thing I thought was really interesting, it's considered like at Disney's equivalent, it would be considered a quick service where you have like a tray, you go order, and then you get your food, you go sit down. So it's the same kind of concept, except here at Universal, we did have to wait a while to order. And once we ordered our food, one of the Universal employees actually, they found us a table to sit at, and then our food was brought to us. That was really nice because at Disney, when you eat at a quick service restaurant, you place your order and then you wait for your food, and then you go sit down. So you're trying to find a table with all these people, other people trying to find the table, and you're trying to balance your food and all your drinks and your kids with a tray and try to find the table. It was nice because at Universal, they found the table for us, they seated us, and they brought us our food. So I'm not sure if other restaurants in Universal do this. You guys can let me know, like if there's other quick service type restaurants that they seat you and bring you your food. But at the Leaky Cauldron, they did. And I was very glad about that because it was very busy, and I hate trying to find, I mean, it's just like the lunchroom in school. You know, you're walking around with your food, trying to balance your food on your tray and trying to find somewhere to sit. And I didn't want to have to do that at this place, and I didn't have to because they did that for us. So that was kind of neat, but I'm just curious to know if the other restaurants do that too. So if you guys know, let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to know that. So as you guys can probably tell, we will not be switching from a Disney family to a Universal family anytime soon, and probably ever. I mean, other than the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal, which is incredible. It's done perfectly. Everything is amazing. But other than that, I feel like Universal was disappointing. The rides were not worth the wait. The employees and the way they maneuver people through lines, and it was very unorganized and hectic. And like I said, I felt like livestock. I just felt like I was being herded through these things, and there's a lot of rides at Universal and Islands of Adventure, but I just feel like considering so many of them were thrill rides or like really intense rides, I feel like Disney is more family friendly, and there's more for everybody to do together instead of, you know, splitting families up and having older kids ride this and younger kids ride this, or younger kids have to go to like a certain little land, a certain area of the park to be able to ride a smaller ride. I don't like that. I don't like that setup. I like the way Disney has it much better. And I like that we can do everything together as a family at Disney versus Universal where we can't. And again, I mean, it's just not as magical as Disney. Disney, from the time you go under those arches that say, "Welcome to Walt Disney World where dreams come true," until the time you leave, there is something about Disney. There is a magic at Disney that I don't know how it's there. I don't know why it's there, but it's there, and I can literally feel it. It is a tangible thing. and it's not there at Universal, and I missed it. Even just being gone off property for one day, I missed that Disney magic. There's just something that Disney has that Universal doesn't, and I don't know that I don't know that anybody could ever have that same magic. So you guys let me know. These are our experiences and our opinions and my thoughts on Disney versus Universal. Does that mean you shouldn't ever go to Universal? I don't know. I personally don't want to ever go back. I've seen Harry Potter World now. It's really neat. I oohed and awed, and I'm done. Like, I don't need to go back. So those are my thoughts and opinions on Disney versus Universal. You guys let me know. Are you anti-Universal? Do you like both? Like, what are your thoughts on Disney versus Universal? I would love to know if we're the only people that feel this way, and I would like to know how you feel. So definitely let me know in the comments below. Make sure you check out my Disney playlist. It's linked for you guys in the description box. So if you guys are planning a Disney trip, or you're thinking of planning one, or you don't know where to start with planning a Disney trip, then check out that playlist. I'm sure you'll find some videos in there that are helpful, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. So much for watching all the way to the end of this video. If you want to see 2 of my older videos, you can click the links right here. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, if you haven't already, and you definitely should, you can click right here. I upload every single week. I have some links in the description box for some of my favorite stores and products, as well as my P.O. box address. Check out those links if you're interested in those, and I will see you guys in the next video.